Winning in today's market takes the right moves. Welcome to Elevate Your Business from Elevate Coaching at Guild Mortgage. In this episode, we break down the real driver of long-term success, discipline, and how to build it into your daily business. Let's get into it.
We know talent doesn't separate you, the market doesn't separate you, and motivation doesn't separate you. But discipline does separate you. And we've got on today on our Elevate Your Business podcast, Mr. Lamont Watson. He's a friend of mine. He's been in the industry for 22 years. He averages about 30 million a year. He's been to President's Club. He's been in the Scotsman's Guide. He's also been, I don't want to forget, Columbia Mortgage Banker of the Year in 2020. He's an Elevate coach, and he is going to talk to us today about discipline. So welcome, Lamont.
I'm glad to be here, Paula. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. Let's start out. Let's just talk about discipline, and a little bit about leadership with discipline, right? When you look back on your career, what was the moment that first taught you discipline? Not talent, right? But discipline. And how did you know it was going to determine your future success?
Well, that's a great question. When I first got in the industry a long time ago, we had the mortgage company I was working for had call sessions, which means that it was dedicated twice a day. You had to practice actively calling clients to solicit business. And I was with a group that eventually, out of the 13 of us, 8 of us became managers. But there was one of us that was disciplined every single time. All she would do is just dial and dial and dial. And it wasn't loud. It wasn't obnoxious. It was consistent. And she was the number one loan officer in our branch. And what I noticed was that consistency beat the most talented in our office every single time. And so I started modeling myself after what she did, because great players are going to practice with the best of them.
So you were watching her do that. What were you doing in contrast?
Well, when I was doing a contract, I was new to the industry. And what I wanted to do was identify the habits that were going to create the foundation of being a good loan officer. And there was a difference between good and great. And then she told me one day, she said, hey, if you really want to be great at this because you have the talent and I think you're better than me. And she was a little dry. I mean, she was really dry. There wasn't anything special about her except what made her special was her consistency. She said, I can't out-talk some of these guys. I can't be this to this person, but what I can do is I can be consistently doing the activities every single day that is going to drive business. And so what I really looked at was, yes, I was talented. I had the opportunity, but talent without practice is just a waste. And so to really hone my craft, I had to do the little things, not once, not twice, but I had to do them every day. And those built a foundation. Once you build that foundation, it allowed me to be able to grow. My first month in the business, I did 2 loans. My second month, I did 3 loans. And then it was 15 loans, 16 loans, 15 and a half, 17. I just remember because what I planted today, and this is one thing she told me, the activities I do today will show benefits 60 days from now. And she wasn't kidding. So if I started doing those activities and planting those seeds, the harvest was coming. And I can even tell many years later in my business, if I don't do my activities consistently, I can see my numbers go up and I can see my numbers go down. But it's just doing the same thing over and over, running a boring business by knowing what I need to do.
What's like if you were talking to loan officers out there right now and their business was slow, what do you think is the number one thing they should be doing right now, day in and day out? What activity is the most important thing?
They got to change their mindset. Business is not slow. Your thinking is slow. You have to actually go out and do those things and identify the areas in your business that is giving the biggest return on investment. And that's relationships. If you really want to look at somebody's net worth, look at their network. Look at where you're getting your business from. And so it's not about how many people you call or how many people you interact with. It's about effectively having a conversation. And what I would tell newer loan officers and existing loan officers, ask for the business, ask for the opportunity. What we have is knowledge And they don't understand sometimes that, oh, it's just a call. Don't make it a check mark. Make it opportunities. And if you know your numbers that you're going to be speaking, if you have to speak to 5 people to get an opportunity and you need to have 3 leads a day, guess what? You have to have 15 effective conversations, 15 communications, 15 talk tos, not leaving a message on a DM, not leaving a phone number, but actually getting to somebody and have a connection.
And I think everybody should hear that. It's not just 15 calls, it's actually 15 conversations. And sometimes it may take 30 calls to get 15 conversations, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's the law of averages. The more people you help, the more people that's going to come back to you. And so I really looked at it years ago and looked at what an 8-hour day looks like. So that's my day. I want to work 8 hours in a day. So identifying what's green and what's red. Green is activities that are drawing business in. Red are activities that, hey, I've already got the client, makes you feel good. I need to work on that. If you can focus at least 50%, I'm not even asking you to do 100% to begin with, but if you do 50% of your day, 4 hours committed to just green activities, meeting with referral partners externally, taking that application, really digging down in it, taking the extra 15 minutes to connect with somebody, oh, your business is going to absolutely explode.
Right. And it takes discipline. Like just when you were talking about asking for the business, right? I mean, it takes discipline to say every single call, how am I going to work that in? Because right now I'm prospecting, right?
All the time. Like I'm constantly prospecting. If I'm in the grocery store, do you have, it's an easy conversation. I give money away. Well, really, I don't think anybody's not going to want to know how do you give money away. So when you have that conversation, it's just an icebreaker. Well, what do you do? Do you own? Oh, if you do own, you go where the conversation takes you. Have you considered owning? Oh, you do own. Are you happy where you are? Are you planning on making a move in the future? So I'm not looking at where you are just today. I'm looking at where I can be advantageous to you in the future. I don't know about the rest of you, but I got bills to pay in the future. So I'm just building an opportunity that at least 10 to 15 people will utilize my services and say, I commit to you to walk me through this journey. But in order to do that, I may have to take 100 phone calls. I may have to make 50 emails or a bomb video, or I have to do the necessary things to plan it out there. So the biggest thing, and I want you to understand when it comes to discipline, and this is what comes to loan officers. Let's break down what our job is. It's loan originator. Loan is someone who gives money and creates opportunities. Originator is creating opportunities. So we create opportunities to lend money. When we break it down, that's the primary goal of our job. What are we going to do? Everything we should be doing should be geared towards that.
Love it. When we were talking a while ago, you were talking to me about this discipline, around execution, right? And you were taught early on, first to the phone, first to the loan. And you've been doing this for 22 years. Is that the same discipline that you have today?
Oh, absolutely. That has never changed, regardless of the fact that we have AI, we have different platforms that information is going to. And if you really look at it, that's the elevation of how platforms are. It's whoever can give you the first little bit of information. But being first to the phone, then first to the loan is 88% of the people that speak to you, whoever they speak to the first time, is who they typically will do business with. So it's important to get back to your clients. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to have a complete application right there on the phone. They just want to be heard and acknowledged. Now, it may be I'm picking up the phone so I can go ahead and set the appointment for later so I can understand what you want to do. It is the returning an email. It's returning, I acknowledge you. And that's the difference. They want to be acknowledged. Acknowledge that they're interested in finding information out and set the time. The beauty of our jobs and our career path is we get to work with the people we desire that we want to work with. So that has never changed. And I have tell my clients right now, I'm going to be available for you, but I'm going to be available and set the proper expectations of what I need to do to get you where you want to go. So understanding that hasn't changed. There's so many ways that we can use the systems that we have to get back to people, to give them information. And there's information that's coming out everywhere on different social media platforms. The news, well, guess what? I can give you my form of news by sending you out information. I use the bomb system in the Salesforce a lot to say, hey, this is the information that's out there. Let me tell you from my perspective, how does that work? So really being disciplined and being the mortgage resource for my community.
Right. And speed to lead hasn't changed in 22 years.
Not at all. Matter of fact, it's getting quicker.
It's getting faster and faster. Well, if we talk about some discipline with our own self-leadership, right? So, when you wanted to get in alignment with yourself instead of, dealing with anxiety, you started to do a morning routine. What does that look like for you today?
My morning routine is 5 a.m. 5 a.m. I get up every day at 5 a.m. I spend about 15 minutes to 20 minutes meditating, speaking to God, reading my Bible, just being sitting still in quietness because the day is going to come at you, and I totally understand that. But I need to find my center and my grounding. After that, I get myself together. I go to my local gym. My commitment is 4 to 5 days a week. My true value in wealth is my health. And so I'm really committed to making sure that in order for me to be the best loan officer, I got to be the best mentally, the best physically. I have to be in an alignment. In order to do that, I work out, get my sweats out, for about an hour, come back home. I have a young daughter that I drive to school. I drive her to school, and that's quiet time. That's the gift that I get. So when I wake up and I really look at everything, I have a choice and a chance. So half of that is done the morning I wake up. So once I wake up, I'm going through my routine, take my daughter to school. We have a good 10 minutes of just talking about preparing her for what the day looks like. Then I come back home, get ready, and then I head to the office. I'm not looking at emails or my phone for the first couple of hours because I don't want the anxiety. And at the same time, now that I'm grounded, I know where I can attack because I've got myself armored, prepared emotionally, mentally, physically. Now I can go into battle, and I can go forward to move forward to help my clients.
Yeah. And you're a branch manager as well. And I think what we find is, it's hard to lead others if we can't lead ourselves.
100%. 100%. The difference between a general and a man walking is the people that follow behind him. And so when you have a general to get to that point in the armed services, they've gone through the ranks. Nobody's come in as a general. They've come in and they've gone through those ranks from lower level. So they've had to do the things that are necessary to get to that level. And the biggest thing that their job is to serve their soldiers and serve their clients. So it's a mental discipline and mindset. So your mindset has to be not just lead from a leadership perspective is it's not, oh, these people are here to serve me. I'm here to serve every one of my internal referral sources, my internal partners, my external partners, my clients. Our jobs as loan officers is serving our communities.
And I think a lot of us do. And if we skip serving ourself, and even if that's giving yourself some time in the morning to get your body healthy, to get your mind healthy. Like you said, it's your armor, right? It prepares you. And I think a lot of loan officers forget about that. Like because they're running all around, they're doing things for everybody else, and they forget to take care of themselves. And that's part of discipline as well, is taking care of yourself.
Yeah, and it's understanding, Paula, that you have to take care of yourself because if you don't, it's not being selfish. Your mindset has to be, I'm preparing myself so I can lead others.
During your career, what was the season that you realized that working harder wasn't the answer?
That would be 2020. And that, I think a lot of us would know about COVID. That also was when business was just elevated to It was the accelerator's at 100. And what I realized was that I couldn't outwork the amount of business that was coming in. And that season really required me to stretch myself and then start saying, okay, what are we going to do? We want to serve the community, but we don't have the capacity. How are we going to put that capacity together? How do I take the knowledge and the systems in place in order to be able to continue to grow? And that was my best year, like most others in the business. The difference is that we had the ability, and I had the ability to sit down and say, whatever I put together today, I wanted to be able to continue even when I'm gone. And so I really focused at that time on building out opportunities for others to get in this business, building out opportunities for others to grow on my team, and say, okay, hey, this is how we're going to do it. It's not what I'm gonna do, it's what we're gonna do. And that's where I really had, as a manager and as a loan officer, say, I need your input. I need your help. Tell me how we can do this. And ironically, I had limiting thoughts of what we could do. And then someone said, hey, my coach at the time said, ask them what they think they can do. And that was my biggest mind shift. Instead of me being a manager, that's when I became a leader. Because then I would ask them, what is it that you think we can do? And the numbers that they said we could do, I exceeded what my expectations were. And now at that point, it was a buy-in because they said, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. So as a leader, that's, I think, my biggest shift became, okay, hey, we can do more than what I expected. Don't put the limits on yourself. Let your team shine. Let them go forth. And then instead of almost competing with yourself, work on collaboration. My team collaborated and we had some of the best times, the best opportunities, and the best experiences.
Yeah, I agree. I think as you're growing and building a team, I mean, I think everybody gets to that place where where you are feeling like you're doing it all and growth kind of stops, right? Because you need help. And so it's taking that step backwards to find the right person. But then I loved what you said, you still think like, I've got to figure all this stuff out, which you don't because you've got a team now and it's about empowerment. It's about collaboration, like getting what are their thoughts, right? And I loved how you thought what you said, I almost stunted myself, not realizing what we could do together. But when I talked to them about it, I'm like, wow, we can really grow because they're in, right?
Oh, 100%. You can go fast by yourself, which is as loan officers, oh, I can do this better. I can do it quicker. I can do it faster. But then you're not growing. But you can go forward together, which means all of you are starting to grow. So slowing down a lot and saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. How do we should get there? Actually gave me an ability in my business to say, oh, I have a lot more flexibility. I have a lot more freedom to do the activities that stay on target that's going to build the business in because they would say, well, I don't want you to do this. I'll do this. I don't want you to do this. I'll do this. Instead of me assigning it, they were taking it and then applying it. So I loved the collaboration aspect of that.
And again, that comes back to discipline because you got to have regular meetings. You got to have, you got to be open to taking feedback, and I think a lot of times, again, what you said, Lamont, it's slowing down, right? To implement those systems.
Absolutely. And really, Guild has done a great job with our CRM, getting Salesforce and putting it in there and then embracing technology because if we look, when I look where I was and how I was operating on papers and spreadsheets and Excel and bringing it all together, and it's like, well, if I'm out, I was the roadblock for my own business. And so once I started committing to putting everything in Salesforce, putting the information in, not having to replicate the duplication of things. Like if I had a conversation, put the information of what the conversation is. Take the extra few moments. And by taking that extra few moments, by putting it in, it allowed my team to pick up where I was. And it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I got to come back, reinvent the wheel and keep doing this over and over again. So, that was the cost of the lesson. And every lesson has a cost. So it's not that I win or lose. It's like, what did I learn from this? And so how much did that learn? By not putting the information in, now I can equate that actually literally back to dollars and missed opportunities. So once I started doing that and I came back and said, okay, if we communicate and we're consistent in our communication, and then we have clarity with that, it allows your business to be able to breathe and grow. And so you can ask anybody on my team right now, what are the 3 things I'm working on this year? And it was those 3 C's: clarity, communication, and consistency. And that's the leadership style that I'm focusing on so that we all are on the same page.
And again, takes discipline because it's easy to move away, right? Because of disruptions in your day or, fires or whatever is going on. But if you keep those, it sounds like if those 3 words that you're keeping in front of you, it helps. It helps your team. Let's move into coaching because you are a coach. You're getting ready to lead our LOA coaching program as our head coach because you've done such a great job with bringing up LOAs into loan officers. But you've had multiple coaches yourself.
Mhm.
What did they force you to confront that you couldn't see on your own? Is there anything that sticks out in your mind through coaching that helped you?
My coaches didn't allow me to sit in mediocrity, but they also didn't allow me to make excuses. My coaches would say, "Oh, you're great, you're talented, but you're stunted because you keep doing the same thing over and over again." And I had to take that realization and shift my mind and say, "Okay, these guys are holding me accountable. They're really saying there's more opportunity out for you." And I've always had a coach or a mentor somewhere in my life that saw more than what I could do and said, "If you tried this, what would be the benefit of trying it and you win? Versus what if you tried it, it didn't work?" And I really had to shift my mindset and say, that made a lot of sense. Was there going to be some work? Was there going to be some thinking? Was there going to be some extra action? Yes. But what was the result? The result was growth. And when you look at it in your life, whenever you're trying to do something that you haven't done before, the hardest step was the first step. But once you started going, and I equate it to walking. When I started walking, I could walk, but then I ran. But in order to run, I had to learn how to walk first. So you just have to make sure you do the first step. And so my coaches played an integral role in helping me take those steps. And I had to do the work. And that was the realization. You still got to do the work, Lamont. But someone was there to say, all right, this looks good. All right, what can we do to adjust this? All right, are we on path? So for me, my coaches were very beneficial for me to get in alignment in my business and allow me the opportunity to learn.
So, as a coach, and you run, your focus is on discipline, the activities that you do, that's what's going to create your business and doing it consistently. What's the one discipline you see in students that you need to work on? It keeps continuing to come up.
It is the mindset, Paula. It is a mindset shift of saying, I can instead of I cannot. All right. And I see that consistently with students. Well, this person didn't do this, or this didn't happen, or, this didn't happen. I said, okay, so what'd you learn? Instead of it being something that kicked you down, what did you learn? How do you fix it? What are you going to do next time? Now, how do you replicate that? Because there's a difference in experience and doing the same thing over and over again. And that's where I see a lot of students run into that self-doubt where they got knocked down a little bit or they're not doing exactly the way they are, but you can control what you can control. The only thing I can control is my attitude. I can't control anybody else. I can't control how people feel, but what I can do is influence the opportunities. And what I mean by influence the opportunities is if I'm consistently communicating my clear desires with all of the people I come in contact with, then it's not my issue. It is up to me to be able to say, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm going to do it. And then I move forward. And I'm doing it consistently every single time.
People that are listening right now today to this podcast, if they're sitting there and they realize discipline is the gap, right? Between where they are today and really where they want to be, where do they start? I know you've talked about mindset a lot, but after we get through, like they've decided, I do want to be more disciplined. Like, what should be a couple next steps? What should they start doing?
Well, you got to, whatever you decide you're going to do, write it out. And then you need to go ahead and break it down. So if you're going to do something, you're going to do it a habit, takes 21 days to be able to do it. And then you got to have measurable accountability. So let's say you're going to go to the gym. All right. And we're going to use that as an example. We're going to the gym, and the first day you get up. Okay. You get up on time. You're starting. Good. The next day you get up and actually get in the car, you drive, you get to the front door of the gym. You went a little bit further than you did the day before. So what you have to do is continue to build on. The third day you go into the gym and you actually lift the weight. Okay. Or the next day you do the same thing. You're doing it more and more. So what it is repetition of moving forward. So either you're standing still, which means you're moving backwards, or you're moving forward. So you have to create activities and systems that are put in place in order for you to be able to be disciplined. Discipline is not why I want to do that. That's motivation. Discipline is doing the same thing or the activities that help you achieve the goal that you want from the motivation of the desired result. And if that means that you need coaches, if that means that you need help with your manager, if that means you need help with your loan partner, so be it. But you can't keep those things a secret. You let people know this is what my desired goal is, and then you get held accountable.
John Wooden talked about that a lot in his practices. And when I was coaching basketball, I listened to him speak, and he talked about discipline all the time. Discipline is doing what you have to do, doing it that way all the time. I mean, it's like that consistency of whatever it is that you want to achieve. So I think we should have a little challenge for our listeners, Lamont. And I think we should challenge our listeners to pick something, whether it's a morning routine, whether it's implementing a new system, whether it's asking for a referral on every call, and decide what it is for you. And Lamont said it takes 21 days, but I'm going to even challenge you. I'm going to say do it 30 days, do it for a month, and measure your results. Like if you're asking for referrals, how many referrals did you get? If you're looking to get healthy, how many days did you get to the gym? How do you feel, right? After you're doing that. It might be drinking water, right? It's a discipline. But your first step is always that challenge, right? And once you do that first thing, then you can always add the second thing and the third thing. What else do you have, Lamont?
Well, I think I agree with you, Paula. And if you look at some of the greatest in their fields in athletics or education, they did the same thing over and over. But here's the biggest thing. But what they did was they tried. Michael Jordan had a saying that, you miss 100% of the shots that you didn't try. And so that still comes with discipline. You're going to have to practice your craft, and practice doesn't make perfect, but it perfects the opportunities. And so I really focus on making sure I'm understanding all of the engagements within my business, within my life. Where are we? But that's the one thing I can control is me. I can't control anything else, or anyone else. But what I can do is I can learn from my mistakes, but I can learn from my wins, and I can decide which ones I want to get better on. Um, so the biggest ability, we have is availability. And what I mean by that is you got to be available to your clients. You got to be available to your family. And in order to do that, you got to discipline because we all have the same 24 hours, and it's what we do within those 24 hours. So make the most of it, take advantage of it. That's the gift. And that's why they call a gift a present. So be present with your family, be present with your clients, be present with your ops team, and you take that present and be a presence no matter where you go.
I want to thank you, Lamont, and I want to thank you for leading at a high level and reminding us that discipline isn't flashy, it's foundational, right? And for everyone listening, remember, talent may open the door, but discipline determines how far you're going to go. So until our next podcast, again, thank you, Lamont, for being here. and we will see you real soon.
It's been my pleasure and honor. Thank you so much, Paula.
Thanks for listening to Elevate Your Business, a podcast from Elevate, the internal coaching program at Guild Mortgage. Glad you could be here for today's playbook. If you want to check us out, head over to guildmortgage.com and click About Us to find Elevate Coaching. Have a question or want to keep the play going? Visit us and send a DM on Instagram at Elevate Mortgage Coaching, or leave a comment for us on YouTube. We're posting extra content, behind-the-scenes action, and everything you need to stay in the mortgage game. On Elevate Your Business, we share real stories and strategies from top producers to help you move forward. So ask yourself, what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate.
Guild Mortgage Company, Equal Housing Opportunity, Arizona Broker License Number 0018883, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation under the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender License Number MC3274. Massachusetts Mortgage Broker License Number MC3274, licensed by the Mississippi Department of Banking and Consumer Finance, licensed by the New Jersey Department of Banking and Insurance. Nevada Mortgage Company Number 1141, Oregon Mortgage Lender License Number 176, Rhode Island Licensed Lender, Rhode Island Licensed Third-Party Loan Servicer, Company NMLS-ID 3274. For licensing information, go to www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. All loans subject to underwriter approval. Terms and conditions apply, subject to change without notice. Guild Mortgage Company is an equal opportunity employer. Guild Mortgage Company 5887, Copley Drive, floors 13456, San Diego, California 92111. For more licensing information, please visit www.guildmortgage.com/licensing. Elevate is an internal Guild Mortgage Company coaching program and not a separate entity. Podcast content is provided for informational purposes and based on publicly available materials or tactics used in the industry. The views, strategies, or opinions discussed do not necessarily represent those of Guild Mortgage Company or its affiliates. Intended for mortgage industry professionals only. Paula Nirschl, NMLS number 383396. Lamont Watson, NMLS 474326.
Thank you for joining us on Elevate Your Business, a podcast for mortgage professionals brought to you by Elevate, the internal coaching program at Guild Mortgage.